Consider two triangles like these, triangle ABC and triangle PQR. We are told that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. This tells us a lot of things. First, it tells us that the triangles are congruent. Second, it also tells us which vertices are paired. Vertex A corresponds to vertex P. B corresponds to Q and C corresponds to R. Remember, if we are mentioning the congruency between two triangles, the order of the naming is also important. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. Remember, two figures are congruent if one, when placed on the other, overlaps exactly. So PQR can be placed on ABC in 6 ways. One way would be like this: P on A, Q on B, and R on C. But if we are trying to place it another way like this, with point Q on A, we see that they do not overlap exactly. It means point Q does not correspond to point A. If the two triangles are congruent, then they will overlap exactly in at least one of the 6 ways. Look at the side AB. What will it be congruent to? Based on the correspondence, we can say that it's congruent to side PQ. And side BC? Simple. It will be congruent to side QR. And side CA will be congruent to side RP. And this is how it would look for angles. BAC will be congruent to QPR, ABC will be congruent to PQR, and BCA will be congruent to QRP. The corresponding parts of congruent triangles are always congruent. We call it CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. You would probably think that this was easy and you could have written the corresponding sides and angles easily. But let's look at two other triangles. First, triangle DEF, and second, triangle KPO. Here, the triangles are congruent, but this one is rotated. In this case, it is a very common mistake to assume correspondence between D and K, E and O, and F and P. But that would be incorrect. Here, triangle DEF is congruent to triangle PKO. This would make it very simple for us to write down the pairs of corresponding sides and corresponding angles which are congruent. If we take side DE for instance, we can easily say that it is congruent to side PK. Or if we consider angle DFE, we can say that it is congruent to angle POK. Remember, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are always congruent.